Our decorations are up and we've filled the studio with comforting food and joyous guests, which can only mean one thing. This is Saturday Kitchen's live countdown to Christmas. Our decorations are up and we've filled the studio with comforting food and joyous guests, which can only mean one thing. This is Saturday Kitchen's live countdown to Christmas. Welcome to the show. Offering up festive foodie treats like modern-day wise men, we got Poppy O'Toole, Tony Singh and Jane Baxter. And Ollie Smith is the only innkeeper you'll ever need to recommend a drink or two. Now, our special guest today is the multi-award-winning musician behind one of the biggest-selling albums of all time. But who needs accolades and #1 signals when you've got a ski lift named after you? Please welcome the brilliant James Blunt. What? I did not know that about you.
I do. Amazing. I have a chairlift named after me in Switzerland in a ski resort called Verbier. And I had to cut the ribbon and smash a bottle of champagne on the first pillar and say, I name this chairlift James Blunt, God bless her and all who ride me.
Oh, how practical.
How very practical.
That's, wow, 10:05 in the morning. Thanks very much for that.
Taking so many people to giddy heights.
Don't you carry on.
I won't.
Also a pub landlord, and the only reason I ever look at Twitter.
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hilarious. Right, you're very busy. You've got books, you've got docs, you've got a new album out. Brilliant new album, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Very emotional.
Checks in the post.
Very emotional.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm flogging everything. The music's out there, but as the career slowly takes a dive, I thought I'll move into books as well.
Children's books next.
So, not quite. Steer away from them. But I've got a book called Loosely, based on a made-up story, which is all true. But I need to... the title's there, so
I mean,
in case the lawyers get in touch.
are all over that one, aren't they?
In case the lawyers get in touch. And my parents have since disowned me since they read it. So I asked that, please don't read the book.
Yeah, your mother put a great quote on the back. Right, we're going to talk all about that later. Let's see what's on the menu today. Good, excellent. Also quite cold, you keep telling me.
Yeah, but I haven't eaten for days, knowing I was coming here. So I'm excited.
Ollie, what have you got for us?
So, can I just say, what's going on under the table is wonderful right now.
What?
Nothing!
Nothing.
Sorry.
What?
You don't want to know. Read it in his next book.
James, at the end of the show, Food Heaven, Food Hell. What's your idea of Food Heaven?
My Food Heaven, I'm a chicken wing aficionado.
OK.
Specifically buffalo chicken wings, and I'm writing a book on it. Called Wow, Wings of the World.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, and me and my band, we tour around the world and try, you know, spicy chicken wings.
And I have it on great authority from a mutual friend that the best are eaten in Albuquerque, is that right?
Albuquerque, exactly. I flew from LA to Albuquerque, tried the wings, and then got back on the plane and returned to LA.
Literally like Elvis.
This is it. Yeah, they were very, very good. Worth the journey.
Excellent.
I highly recommend it.
And what about Hell?
Hell, I mean, I'm anti-pulses, really. As a pulses, quinoa.
Yeah.
Any other pulse makes me slightly twitch.
OK.
Yeah.
And not keen on aubergines?
Aubergine, well, I just think, you know, I don't mind. I'll have it. I'll eat anything, but I just find it a bit dull.
OK.
It's not like a firm young carrot, which is more interesting.
Uncle Monty with Nan and I. What a quote. Straight in there.
That's your favourite film?
It's one. I won
Mastermind.
And I won Celebrity Mastermind on that subject. So, yes, hooray.
Firm young carrots. Well, it's down to you guys at home. Will my trio of takeaway treats win your vote? If so, I'm going to start with double-fried chicken wings, tossed in a fiery hot sauce with a blue cheese dip on the side, and finally a corn and jalapeno salsa. Tom, that was almost like you were told to laugh. FYI.
Get the tomato sauce on for this. So I've got for my...
Bang on trend.
It is bang on trend.
Currently.
It's also very, very good for you, yes.
You'll be aware that TikTok hashtag for it has more than 1 billion views.
Yeah, it's going wild. I think it's like, you know, the chefy braised hispy cabbage and then you know, char it off. And also, like you said, it's a cheap and very nutritional vegetable, isn't it? So I think it's just having its heyday now. I might become the cabbage queen next.
Do you think it's the new cauliflower steak?
Yes, yes, absolutely. But it is delicious.
Bang on trend.
Love it.
Good value, tasty, fun.
So I put some more onions in here. Yes, my new book.
Which is Recipes for a Better Menopause.
Yes, it is. Co-authored with the lovely Dr. Federica Amati.
OK.
Go through this. I was talking with my wife about it. It's just brilliant to have this conversation. And it's great for men also to be learning about it. I think the book, though, what I would say, it's lovely, but you've got so many good recipes in here that would appeal very generally, actually. And this is
I think so.
Fish with... This is crazy water. Tell me about this one.
Aquapazza, yeah. It was one of the dishes that we did in lockdown for takeaway for people.
Your feeling and what to therefore cook or avoid, but it could actually apply to anybody. You know, if you're feeling anxious or whatever it is, it's got a really handy...
If I had trouble sleeping, Ollie...
I would come round and sing to you. What do you want me to sing?
And it does it. I think it's the second one down or the third one down?
Third one down for no, I haven't got that one. I've got another one, but I'm not going to read that one. Poor sleep. Yeah, here we are. So good news for you, Matt. Poor sleep. You need to avoid alcohol and spicy foods. So well done on the Chinese last night. Takeaway. Instant sleep window. Natural yogurt, kiwi fruit is what you need. There you go. It works. Try that and give us some feedback.
Right.
I can cook a bowl of cereal, or maybe a sandwich. I could do either of those things if you need me.
I think we do. What's in the sandwich if you're doing it?
I could slice a ham.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Maybe add a bit of cheese. I'm very, very good at washing up.
Well done, you.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
good.
Key
Tidy kitchen is a happy kitchen.
Ah, yes.
OK.
So
You're
pack
all
them
good
in.
there.
/Saturday Kitchen, or you can scan the QR code down there somewhere at the bottom of the screen, and it'll take you straight to the recipes. Inbound.
Cabbage
Poppy,
inbound.
do you
Yes,
wanna
please.
do the honours over there. What have we got here, Ol?
Well, I was intrigued, Jane.
Breakfast of kings and queens.
Excellent. Good. Thoughts from you?
Fantastic. That's amazing. But fish. That's
Yes, you could chill that down, serve it with shellfish, yeah. It's almost like if you like rosé, you could probably...
Yes. I'm making a fantastic naughty...
Is that what's a bit weird?
No.
All right.
No. I'm making a naughty samosa from Christmas pudding, so leftovers.
Yeah.
Again, we hate food waste. And a custard with whiskey. Something that'll lift you up on Boxing Day.
Very nice. Poppy, some air fryer madness from you?
Absolutely, of course. We've got some air fryer roast potatoes, we've got some air fryer sprouts, we've got some air fryer honey roasted parsnips and carrots.
Time and money saving. Don't forget, if you can join in the conversation, rather, on social media. We've got apples here. Cider. There's a link for you. What a pro. Let's do that again. Thanks for that, Rick. So you saw apples and cider and, blah, blah, blah in that recipe. I've got them here too. It's a great little supper recipe. That, if you could do saute some cavolo with that and chop up some smoked streaky form.
It always makes me nervous watching you cut, because you always then start looking over at your guests while you're cutting. And
do you do that?
Yeah, go on, keep going. We're waiting
It's Jeopardy. So, yeah, book and album came out at the same time.
I think that's a foolish thing, isn't it? Putting a book and an album out at the same time.
Oh, I don't know.
Talking about too many things.
Both are great.
Thank you.
Book, very, very funny.
Yeah. I mean, what
album,
I did...
very emotional.
Very sweet. Well, with the book, I had an editor and he said, just write everything in and don't self-edit, and we'll cut out the bad bits at the end.
You didn't?
And they never cut...
Oh, you really didn't self-edit, did you?
No.
I mean, so many stories, I say so many, probably 99% of them, we can't actually talk about this morning.
True.
Because it's far too early.
Yeah.
And I love, right at the front of the book, there's this heavy disclaimer from the...
Yeah, fairly shocking.
Amazing.
I mean, I can't tell you any of the stories from it.
Well, then, I'm sure we can touch on a few. I love there's a great quote from your mum. I mean, I don't even know if that's true.
It really is.
Your mum says at the back of the book, a deeply unpleasant read.
Yeah, well, my dad actually called me. My father's a very respectable human being, and he asked if I should consider removing the drugs or the perversion. And I said, if I do that, Dad, there's going to be no book. There's no book left. So...
Yeah, I didn't realise James Blunt's life was so rock and roll.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
So that's maybe it isn't true after all. Maybe it isn't.
I mean, we go through, all aspects of your life, from your days in the army, back in Kosovo, which is quite dark.
Yeah, and so I guess that's what you're trying to capture, really, because I live in this incredibly shallow world of the music business. I lived in Los Angeles, which is really as shallow as a puddle, and I loved it because I'm shallow too. And yet there's the depth of time at war, and, and you can see that what's going on in you know, in the Middle East and Palestine and Israel at the moment, and these things are still happening that I witnessed in war as well. And so the book kind of gives a little bit of shallowness and a bit of depth, a tiny bit of depth.
I think what a lot of people won't realise is that despite the fact you had the biggest selling album of the decade, something like 25 million records sold or something like that, I mean, forget the figures, but huge, you were turned down by pretty much every record company in this country.
Yeah, well, they all have...
Shame on them!
No, they have pretty good music taste here. So that's why I'm pretty big in Germany, because that's where they have dodgier musical taste. And I got signed in America to a woman called Linda Perry.
Yeah.
She's in a band called Four Non Blondes.
Remember them very well.
And, yeah, I played at a gig in Austin, Texas, to 20 people, and she came and gave me a deal, and thank God for her.
But then while you were over there, somehow, and you're the same age as me, you must have got very excited when you met Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia.
Yeah.
And you ended up living with her.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And literally, I met her in a place in Notting Hill in a restaurant. She was sitting beside me. Her first question was, what do you do? And I said, I've just left the army, got a record deal, moving to Los Angeles. She said, where are you going to live? I said, I haven't sorted that out yet. And her third statement to me was, well, you're going to live with me.
It was a fact.
And I did, and her house was absolutely amazing. She had a Christmas tree out 365 days a year, chandeliers in the garden, in the trees, and a mum, Debbie Reynolds, living on the property. She's an actress from Singing in the Rain and other movies.
Yeah.
And Debbie Reynolds would shout up at me every morning, hey, Charlie, you want a drink? Morning, Debbie, it's James. I've been here months now. You sure you're not Charlie? I think I'm definitely James. Well, you want a drink anyway? and so that was the experience. A mad and wonderful place to live.
I mean, speaking of which, I didn't realise also that that's where the album title, Back to Bedlam, came from.
Exactly, it is kind of madhouse of her house. And, you know, the madness of the mind, you know, Carrie was bipolar and it had, you know, had her battles. And then I'm writing an album about, you know, an English man in a strange world with a dream, and it was the madness of her house. Back to Bedlam made sense.
And you recorded one of the songs, Goodbye, My
Lover,
one of your famous songs.
Yeah,
most famous.
in her bathroom. Because,
Why?
Because if you are a Hollywood actress, where do you keep your piano? In the bathroom. And so that's where we recorded it.
I mean, it sounds crackers.
Yeah, totally. And so, yeah, and I lived with her until she died in 2016, really. I lived with her while I was in America writing and recording music. So I was very lucky.
And this was during the 90s, which, and I have to agree with you, is the best decade ever.
Actually, the noughties.
The noughties, sorry, the noughties.
Greatest decade for music known to humanity, we can all agree. Yeah. No?
I'd say the 70s. That's just me.
The what, the 70s?
70s, yeah. Prog rock, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm with
You like a bit of that, don't you?
I'm with Tony. I'm 70s, yeah.
Did some really good funk.
Right, let me recap here. So, Tony, you've got...
yeah, I mean, everyone puts out an album. They all say it's my most personal album,
few
don't they?
tearjerkers on there.
A few miserable ones on there.
It's not miserable, it's just emotional.
Well, misery sells, and I'm... And so, yeah, there's some really sweet ones. I mean, I have lots of it. I have lots of them are great celebrations. I'm a bit more grown up now, and I write songs about my wife, and those are great celebratory songs. And then the highs and lows of life along the way. So, you know, and that's what it's about. I have written a song about Carrie. This took me a long time to do, called Dark Thought, and it was about this amazing moment where she had died, and I obviously miss her terribly. So I drove back up to her house in a kind of mad moment, just to feel a bit of her spirit. And as I drove up there, got to her gate's mad in itself. It's got all these signs all over it. And I got there and I put my hand on the gate and I literally shed a tear. I said, God, I miss you so much, Carrie. And I'm having a little blub. First kind of time I had a blub on the gate. And as I did, a minibus of tourists going, visiting the Star Map van, they're called, to kind of tell you where celebrities live, pulled up and said, on your left, you'll see the late, great Carrie Fisher's house. And as you can see, some fans are still deeply moved by her passing. And me thinking,
if only they
not
did.
now. But so, yeah, so there are a couple of sad songs on there.
And it is a great album. You must be very, very pleased with it.
Yeah, well, you know, I put out an album sort of every 3 years. The record labels say, get in the studio and make an album. Sometimes I haven't got much to write about, and it's a terrible album, and sometimes I've got lots to write about, and this one I've really had a ton to write about.
We're going to talk about the documentary a little bit later on, which is brilliant. I think everyone should watch it, quite frankly. But you also talk about how you don't necessarily, within your family, open up about feelings. And so this is the way that you express your feelings.
Yeah, as a
right.
family, you know, my father's a colonel in the army. We've heard about feelings, but we've just haven't experienced them. And so, yeah, my parents are in this documentary. It was quite a nervous moment because I didn't really want to expose my parents to I didn't want to show them to the public.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum. And then she kind of said, actually, why aren't I in your documentary? My dad was, because I'd written a song for him, and that made sense. And then my mother said, hang on, I should be in your documentary. And then when we got her in camera, she was a little nervous, so we gave her a couple of gins, and suddenly she is the hero of this documentary.
I mean,
amazing.
They both come across very, very well in it.
I mean, it's been a joy having her on there, so yeah. But I guess you can see she's the inspiration behind most things. She was the one who forced me to do music lessons in the first place, so I need to give her credit.
So this was, I mean, your family history goes way back within the army. So this was always something you were going down, but music was always
there. Yeah, totally.
there.
I mean, I didn't necessarily want to join the army, but they had paid for my school and university. And you can pay them the cash back, but my parents had spent all that money in slot machines in Andover. So I had to do 4 years in the army. It was an amazing experience. I loved it, and then bailed when I could.
But you were actually...
So actually, you catch that. We got lots of that in the documentary too, because I took footage while I was in Kosovo. I took a handheld camera.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't pull out a camera when people are shooting at you. You have to reach for something else. But in the other times, the down times, I had a camera and we could use all of that.
And I bet you're really tuck into that. I bet you're very glad you did that, to have that documentary.
Yeah. Also, I suppose there are moments where some things you think, is this inappropriate to film, because it's the ugliest side of humanity. Yeah. And then after a while you go, hang on, I have to capture this, because if I don't, people won't see it.
Yeah.
But we were very lucky for a documentary to have, my earliest parts of my career film, but the stuff from the army makes it a really interesting thing.
Yeah. And you sound every inch the army captain.
Yeah, I'm a real posh. I don't know what the word is, but it's a word that we can't use quite now. But yeah, exactly. And then the edges have been whittled off as I've gone on the road with a band who are from all corners of the country.
Yeah.
We capture that in the documentary as we just take the mickey out of me endlessly. Actually, with the documentary, I really hope to come across as a kind of English musical equivalent of Tom Cruise, and instead I've just come across as Alan Partridge. And so...
Exactly. In fact, there's a side profile of you in your car talking, and I did think a little bit Tom Cruise there.
It's Alan Partridge is the one. Yeah.
I'm going to serve that with a medley of grains and pulses tossed with mustard dressing. Onto the website now and vote for heaven.
Delicious.
Of course it is. Right, time for...
It is incredible. Yeah, it is really a Ranjasi. My goodness. I love it. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum indeed. Still to come, Poppy O'Toole's helping us. James's food heaven, buffalo wings, and a side of sour cream. Hasselback's always food hell, roasted aubergine, pure yogurt. Great.
Got leftover Christmas pudding.
OK.
So French creme pâtisserie. No, what?
I bet James Blunt makes his own Christmas pudding as well, doesn't he?
OK, so if they turn up, they'll pop up and you'll see the ones that are already hot.
OK, you get that. Tony.
Christmas Day, we've got the family round. Well, it's up in here. Either see...
I hear it now.
Yes.
Yeah. You just remembered it.
Yeah. It involved Paris Hilton, Ron Jeremy the porn star, two dwarves, and some chickens and some dancing girls.
Yes.
Put that all in an order.
It's totally true, and it's in chapter 9.
I'm buying the book. I was going to say that'd be a great Christmas present.
I think sales are going to overtake the menopause.
Wow. Yeah.
What stories have you got in yours?
.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen, or you can scan the QR code below.
Thank you.
Ron Jeremy and some chickens. Wow. There you go.
Ended up with Paris Hilton being sick on the stage.
Yeah. Nice. I'm going to continue this chat off camera.
Off camera.
Right, thank you very much.
It's like a samosa.
Yeah.
It does. Honest, have a taste. This is...
How's the samosas?
It's like a Christmas pudding.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
But in a much more acceptable form. I'm never a big fan of Christmas pudding.
No, I love Christmas pudding, but anything that's deep fried, great. But if you've got crispy outside, phenomenal.
Yeah. Nice match. Delicious, that. Thanks for that, boys. Right, the website vote is closed, and we're going to soon find out whether James is facing his food heaven or food hell. Realising you don't have enough room in the oven for all the trimmings that you'd like to make, so Poppy O'Toole is here to make Christmas Day less stressful.
Hopefully.
With some air-frying magic.
Hopefully, yes, absolutely.
Don't mess it up.
No, I won't touch it anymore.
We should say, since you came on last, your air-frying cookbook's a bestseller.
Yes.
It's been in the top 20...
Of all books?
Of all books ever.
Oh.
Of all books
since it
like
came out.
Months, yeah. I know. I can't actually believe it. It's quite wild that that's even happened. So thank you, everybody. That's like, we're going to go with it anyway. But all you need to do to get to this point is get your sprouts cut. We've got some melted butter in the pan. Put sprouts in with the butter.
Yep.
Get a little...
Yeah.
Come on, chef.
OK, let's not get a close-up of that. Right, put that in quickly.
So, this goes in. And then, what you want to do is get the bacon lardons over 10 minutes to start with, and then you just intervals, just check it, see how you want it. Do you want it to go further? Do you want it to be less? You don't want to put liquid into the machine. Unless you have... I do have one that does steam, it does it itself, but, yeah, you don't want to put a lot of liquid in there. So tie it...
Air fry.
Yes.
So they come out exactly the same. They've got that nice sort of fluffy edge, that broken edge.
You get the fluffy, floury edge on it, yes.
OK.
But it's halving the time, so it's about 40 minutes all in, really, to get a potato. And it means you've got space in your oven for everything else you want to do, and they are delicious. Smother them in gravy and salt and turkey.
So basically, half the time, half the energy, saving you money.
Absolutely.
You've cooked your turkey, you put that to one side, let that rest, you've got your oven then.
Yes, for everything else you want to do.
OK.
Love it.
Lovely.
Love it.
Sprouts are quite a revelation, to be honest.
Sprouts.
Never boil a sprout.
No.
Ever.
I think they work.
Wrong.
They work well.
Really good in there.
As well. You
Kind of
can use-
crispy.
You can use frozen sprouts as well.
Can you?
Straight from frozen into there.
Really?
Yeah, and then they'll...
Don't they go-
Everyone wants to be in crispy land, don't they, with the sprouts? No, just me. Fine.
I'll come
So
to
if people
crispy
want to
land.
see more of Dancing Poppy,
More of the-
where we'll be able to see you?
So you can get on my socials, or Young MasterChef comes back out on BBC Three beginning of next year.
Let's catch up with two national...
And that, for me, Mary, is Christmas on a plate. Bon appetit. That's Christmas.
It's absolutely divine.
It didn't take us that long.
Oh, so good.
Love it. Don't relax, Mary. Don't think you're going anywhere. We've still got another 50 or 60 to make.
Well, I'll try and get a bit quicker.
Thanks, Mary and Ange. Right, time to find out whether James is facing his food heaven or his food hell.
Christmas tree, and I'm going to do weird things. I'll do weird things to the
Punch the
polar bear. Yeah.
Do weird things with Ollie. Right, where do you think we've gone with this?
We went aubergine.
Where do you think we're going? You think hell?
You hope so now.
This is surely nice. And
Very, very high vote today. Ooh. Very high. It's one of the highest we've had for, like, ages. 79% of people love ya! Yay!
Thank you.
So let's get rid of some of these.
Hell.
Well, yes. 21% of the time.
A few things to do. Baxter's got the hot sauce.
And the salsa.
And the salsa. So,
At this point, we're all right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's go to the doc because we haven't really spoken about this. It's coming out on Wednesday. It's going in cinemas all around the country on Wednesday. That's not hot. Let's come back to that. But it is brilliant. It's a great watch. It's a lot of it is covered in the book, but I just think it's brilliant. And to be honest, I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk about was social media. Because you were absolutely... I mean, let's bear in mind you had the biggest selling album of the decade, one of the most successful albums ever. I mean, it's in the top sort of 20.
It is in the top 20. I can tell you, of the UK's most sold albums ever, it was at number 17.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and you're in very good company. You've got Madonna in there, you've got Bob Marley and the Wailers, you've got Michael Jackson.
And the only way, really, of getting it higher in that chart is if I die, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe more people will buy it again on...
But it's astounding. And the press and some of the public should be ashamed because of the way you were vilified. Because...
Well, I thought for good reason, personally.
Not for a good reason. Don't be humble. Don't be self-effacing. No, it's not. I mean, it was pretty outrageous. And you had to deal with that for a long time until, against your management's wishes, you took it upon yourself to start to react to these trolls online.
Yeah.
And I hit back at them.
Yeah, I mean, before Twitter, we didn't really have a way of replying, and so then it was just kind of media-led negativity, and journalists can be quite horrid sometimes. But then with Twitter...
not have the... What am I trying to say?
Right
the
to reply,
guts,
yeah,
but not having the guts to actually reply in your documentary.
Yeah, exactly.
Outrageous.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was just a moment where they invented Twitter and I was supposed to use it to advertise my music, which I didn't want to do, but I did say I could just answer back. And presumably you've had the same thing online, isn't it? You can
Not quite as bad as you, but yeah, to a level. But it's quite fun to, like, just get back.
And yeah, you capture that in the documentary because there were a couple of years back there where you're thinking, wow, this is supposed to be really fun, and there seems to be quite a lot of negativity. But I dealt with it well. I just went to Ibiza and went to a nightclub for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it's known as the Matt Tebbutt method.
I know, that sounds amazing. So you handled it in the most mature way.
Exactly.
run away when you're nightclub. But it's kind of gone full circle now. I mean, you know, we go back, as our vote kind of shows, 79% of people.
Well, you
they
know
didn't
what?
like you, that you wouldn't know about.
Yeah, you know, I'm insanely lucky. I'm still in the business. I'm on my 7th album, and you know what? You see documentaries where people, musicians, artists, actors say they're having a tough time, and you think, no, we're not. We're in the most amazing job in the world. And the documentary captures me and my band on tour, and as my crew member described it, he said, it's a bit like a stag do gone wrong.
But it's also, I mean, you know, given your sort of your military background, given that you went away to boarding school so young, I mean, there's a certain amount of resilience there, and you wouldn't have presumably got through what you had to get through without that.
Yeah, maybe so. Also, you know, I've got a very tight family, and when you're struggling in the world, you realise that, hang on, these are newspaper articles, you know, read by people I'm never going to meet, and the people who count most to me in my life are my family, and they're the ones who've looked after me.
Yeah. I mean, given that you have had such a very colourful life, I wasn't aware, to be honest. I wasn't aware of the depth and extent of it, to be honest. But I'm just really intrigued as to what made you release, you know, all this information now. What is it about this time?
I think by next year I won't be very relevant, so I thought now was the time to put it out. I suppose lots of it's from the noughties. It's you know, it's 20 years ago almost. I feel I can probably get away with it. And in another 20 years and I won't remember it. So now's the time.
Did you hold things back?
Yes.
What did you hold back, James?
Really?
Well, there was a moment with Kevin Spacey in a cubicle, which I just felt I shouldn't necessarily put that to paper.
So that's under the heading of this definitely didn't happen again. This is in the lawyers.
That's book 2.
Book 2. I look forward very much to
But there are
book 2.
I mean, you read through it, and some of the things you go, oh my God, does this really happen? And then you go, hang on a second, this didn't happen, because you look at the title of the book. And then you think again, it's like, am I bluffing or am I double bluffing? And then you think again, you go, actually, I suspect it probably...
It's all true, including the bit about my grandparents being cousins. I'm from Norfolk.
And there are some great stories in there. There's a fantastic chapter entitled Lindsay, about Lindsay Lohan. That's all we can talk about.
Yeah.
But it's worth getting the book, which incidentally would make a great Christmas present. It's worth getting the book just to read that chapter alone.
Yes.
It's off the scale.
Yeah, terrifying and terrible. I can't tell you anything about it, sorry.
Yes.
You feel a bit exposed?
Most of the time.
OK, cool.
I mean, I suppose, yeah, weirdly, you know, I do songs and I stand on stage and you kind of show your weaknesses and failings and frailties. To do a book is a different thing, isn't it, where there's no hiding, apart from if you call it loosely based on a made-up story and then people think it might not be true.
That's a good way to
That's the only get-out clause, yeah.
So, James, let's talk about the tour that you're doing.
I'm out on tour from February, here through the UK in April. You're from Birmingham.
Yes,
So I'm playing Birmingham Arena and Manchester Arena and places like the Albert Hall. And I can't wait, it's to tour, play music to a stage and people to turn up. It's such a joy. So, yeah, come along.
We will. We definitely will.
We'll have an after party after
Yeah, we all want to be in book 2.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I want to hang out in your gang. It sounds like a world of fun. In fact, we're just looking at social media. Gary Barlow's watching this morning.
Oh.
Hope you're enjoying it.
Lovely, Gary.
Right.
I'm just going to let that hang there because he's lovely.
Let's leave that. Right, chicken has had its first cook. You got lots over Christmas.
I mean, I think that's enough, isn't it? With a book, and a documentary, and a
book, the documentary,
tour, and an album.
I think you're doing...
Now you sound like my record label and want more.
Yeah. Well, you should... I mean, the podcast, the James Blunt podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I think enough.
Yeah.
Well, I did tell you what was weird with doing an audible of a book, because then that's 3 days of being in the studio and just reading, for 8 hours a day. And then suddenly realising, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that.
Well, I think the way it's written is actually so accessible and fun that actually to read it out loud, come on, it must have been a bit of a joy.
So, moments.
Yeah!
Moments of panic.
Well,
Actually put that in. Yeah.
it was a delight.
Right. I need to speed up. OK.
I'm in wings.
Thank you so
Right,
much.
James, have a look
Dive in,
at that.
James.
If you get to identify any of that,
Where do we
you
even
can tell me
start?
now, because we're about to go off air.
Are you a drums or a flat?
I'm definitely this.
It's
this
quite hard.
He's loving it.
the wing part.
I'll come back to him in a minute. That's all for us today on Saturday Kitchen Live. Ran out of time. Thanks to Jane, Poppy, Tony, Ollie, and of course James. All the recipes in the studio on the website, bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen. I've got more Best Bites to tomorrow at 10 a.m. on BBC Two, and I'll be back here live next Saturday for more festive fun with Ravneet Gill and Greg Marchand. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.
He's loving it.
Yay!